Here we are in this week's assignments module, and these are due Sunday, April 3rd. For this week's reading, in the textbook, you'll be reading the introduction, which is about the origins of graphic design, and you'll also be reading Chapter 1, which is about the 19th century. In the introduction, we'll learn that the most significant development of the 15th century was Johannes Gutenberg's invention of printing from movable type, which revolutionized ways of thinking and learning. We'll also learn that the development of various typefaces we still use today was the direct result of Gutenberg's invention, as printers and publishers looked for new ways to increase legibility through the style of letter forms. And here we can see some examples of these early typeface designs from the 17th and 18th centuries, which we still use today in digital format. Typefaces such as Baskerville and Didot. In Chapter 1, we'll learn how during the 19th century, science and technology were applied to the graphic arts, and changes were dramatic and far-reaching in all areas, such as printing, papermaking, and typesetting. And the rise of the popular press helped to create a new industry, advertising, and with it demands for new typefaces, design concepts, and high-speed printing. The end of the century also gave rise to an emerging profession, that of the graphic designer, as someone who brought structural order and visual form to printed communications. And here we can see some examples of Victorian graphic design, where the designers are integrating text and image to better convey their message. You may want to have a look at this week's lectures on art and design, the history of typefaces, textile designs by William Morris, Lydia Pinkham advertisements, the language of design, and graphic design principles. This week, you'll introduce yourself to class and talk a little bit about why you're taking this class. Just click this link, and that will take you into the discussion board where you can post your introduction. This week, you'll work on your first bibliography and design and context assignment. And what you'll do is select a work of graphic design, such as a poster, magazine cover, advertisement, or package from the time period covered in this week's reading. You'll research the work of graphic design, examine the intent of the work, understand the work within the context of its time, and respond to your colleagues. So first, you'll compile a bibliography for the example of graphic design that you've chosen, and you must include at least one book, one journal article, and one web link. Then, write a creative brief, and using the guidelines below, just write a few paragraphs about your topic. So you can use this as a kind of checklist for your assignment. You'll identify the work of graphic design with the designer's name and other information. Give a brief biographical background of the graphic designer. It doesn't have to be more than a few sentences. You'll describe the message of the piece and how it is conveyed. Is it literal or metaphorical? Then you'll describe the stylistic characteristics of your example that are similar to other design examples from this historical period. And you can use some of these guidelines to help you do that. You may also want to talk about any influences on the work of graphic design that you've chosen. And then you'll find at least 2 historical connections which examine the work within the context of its time. And these historical examples may include things like political, economic, artistic, and scientific examples. And the assignment does not need to be more than 1 page long. Then you'll respond to at least 2 of your colleagues' posts with either one additional historical event related to the design example or an additional image by the same designer. And this assignment is worth 75 points. And when you're ready to submit it, just click this link, and that will take you into the discussion board where you can post your assignment in whatever format you choose. This week, you'll begin working on the conceptual phase of your museum exhibition project. This is not due until next week, April 10th. Throughout the semester, you'll be working on a museum exhibition on a specific topic of graphic design. So that means you'll need to look through the textbook in advance and find a topic or a graphic designer that interests you. You will select your topic, research it, develop it, and write exhibition labels. So you're going to come up with an exhibition topic and overview, and this is the big idea or statement of what the exhibition is about. And this big idea provides the focus for the exhibition. And your concept should include some of these considerations. I've also given you links to examples of various types of museum exhibition overviews from different museums. So be sure to have a look at those links to see what an exhibition overview is all about. So again, you're just going to be beginning the conceptual phase of the museum project, which is not due until next week. I've also included a bibliography with links to some of the topics covered in this week's reading. So, this week, you'll begin working on the conceptual phase of your museum exhibition project, although that is not due until next week. You'll work on your first bibliography and design and context assignment. You'll introduce yourself to class. Have a look at some of the lectures for this week. And you'll read the introduction and chapter 1 in the textbook. So those are this week's assignments. Again, they're due Sunday, April 3rd. If you have any questions, be sure to email me. Otherwise, let's have fun learning about the origins of graphic design.